Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantām Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Ya Devi Stuyate Nityam Vibudhair Vedaparagaihi Sa me vasatu jihvagre Brahmarupa Saraswati Brahmarupa Saraswati. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is a nice surprise. I did not know that I was going to come here, and nor did I know that this place, such a beautiful temple, even existed. So, two surprises: the discovery of this place and the discovery that I'm going to be talking here. Two surprises, very nice ones, back to back. Very fortunate to meet you all. A delight and a pleasure to be at the seat of Mother, Divine Mother Sharadamba, she who symbolizes the teachings. She's the personification of the teaching. And the word Sharada comes from Sharat, which means autumn. In many places, the spring season is regarded as a very beautiful season. Why? It has flowers. It has nice burst, riot of colors, expressions. Things after the winter start growing back again. It is regarded as an auspicious season. It is auspicious, no doubt, but we have a special connection to autumn. If spring is known for flowers, autumn is known for fruit. Yes. And the fruit is here, Jnana Phalam. That is why she is Sharada. She gives the fruit of the knowledge. The blossoms are nice. The blossoms are the desire to learn. That is the spring. One springs into action and decides one has to understand the Bhagavad Gita, otherwise life becomes insane. And one has to study Vedanta. All this one understands when? That is in one's springtime. Figurative spring. But the autumn is something very special, because that's where the study fruitions. There is what is called in Sanskritam paripakvata. There is a kind of a coming together of everything, yielding the sweet fruits of knowledge. She who is both the bestower and the embodiment of the sweet fruits of knowledge, is the goddess called Sharada, the presiding deity of the Vidya. What kind of Vidya? Brahma Vidya. What other kind is there? Really, we have to ask that question. There is no other kind. Because this is Paravidya, not Aparavidya. Paravidya means the ultimate knowledge, knowing which there is nothing more to know. Knowing which one is fulfilled, knowing which one is free. Free of what? Samsara. What is samsara? Some sorrow or the other. Yes, working definition of samsara. I don't like this, I don't have this, I don't, this is sense of lack. And because there is a sense of lack, there is a sense of becoming. Becoming means what? I keep wanting to accomplish more and more and more. That's what one does. Why? Because one wants to be validated, one wants to feel secure, one wants to feel fulfilled. One doesn't know how to go about it. Without knowing how to go about it, one goes about it in the most obvious way. And what is the most obvious way? I see other people, and what are they doing? Running, 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 running. Sometimes it happens in India. Suddenly everybody is running, and you ask, why are you running? They say, I don't know, the person in front of me is running. So I thought maybe there is some danger, I am also running. This is how it is everywhere. Everybody is running and pursuing something. I am also running. And then people behind me, what are they doing? They are also running. It's this constant running without a destination. That is samsara, constant becoming, a life of constant becoming something or the other, somebody or the other. Somebody said to me, I have 3 PhDs and I want to do the 4th one. I had only one question. Why? That's all I asked. Why? Why would you want to do this? This sense of restlessness, sense of not being able to be okay with oneself or with anybody else. If I'm not okay with myself, then I'm not okay with the whole world. This is exactly what samsara is. And the antidote to samsara is what Bhagavati Sharada gives in the form of this knowledge. Eulogized by Adi Shankara and the whole lineage that has come to us. Para plus apara, it's called parampara. And the lineage is a very, very honored and an ancient lineage. If you go to Sringeri, the seat of this Pitha, then you see that you'll see the names of all the acharyas. That's something quite amazing. To see the names of each and every acharya that has occupied the seat. You will see their names, you will see their contributions, and any books they may have written, etc., etc. It's just an amazing thing. So the lineage makes us understand something, that if all the acharyas before me had gone through this way and gained this knowledge, that means what? I too can gain this knowledge. I too can walk on this road. Why should I walk on this road? Because it is safe. It is safe. It's a well-worn road. In the Viveka Chudamani, the student comes to the teacher very much agitated. The student, he says, Durvara samsara davagni taptam aham. So this aham, what am I? I am Durvara samsara davagni taptaha. Taptaha, baked. Oh, did they have a heat wave back then also? possibly, but we are not talking of that kind of heat in which we are baking now. That's not the kind of heat. This is a different kind of a heat. It's the heat of afflictions. It's the heat of not coming to terms with oneself. It is tapa, tritapa, threefold tapa. Heat is in the form of torment. 3 types of torment. And that is what? That is based on my own karma phala, adhi daivika. Based on my own surroundings, adhi bhautika. Then finally what? Adhyatmika, centered on myself. 3 kinds of tapas are talked about. So durvara samsara davagni taptam. I am completely baked by these 3 kinds of tortures. Dodhuyamanam duradrishtavataihi. A wave of bad karma, papa, is come. It's like the heat wave. Is it going today? No. Few more days, few more days, few more days, few more days. And then one whole dasha has gone. Astrologically, when you look at your horoscope, which is full of dashas, and so one whole dasha has gone. And then few more years, few more years. And you go to any astrologer, say, after 2 years, you will feel better. And then, okay, after 2 years, I felt better, yes, but then again it went away. What happened? Again, after 2 more years, you will be all right. This is how it is. It is endless. Duradrishtavataihi, by the winds of misfortune, based on my own karma, I am tormented. Bhitam prapannam, ma'am, I am afflicted, caught by sorrow and fear. Paripahi mrityoho, please save me from death. The student goes and asks the teacher. And what does the teacher say? The teacher doesn't say, let me show you a shortcut, instant gratification, quick knowledge, tattvamasi, immediate, finished, internalized. Let's go. No. He says, asti upayah. Yes, there is a remedy for this. Asti upayah. And then what is this remedy? This remedy is that by which all the people in the past have walked, that tadeva margam, that path alone by which the stalwart sages, the exalted sages have walked, that path alone I am going to show you, I am going to share with you. That's what makes this safe. The pursuit of the Bhagavad Gita, the pursuit of this knowledge is safe because of Adi Shankara, because of the Parampara. That is why it is not a cult. Cult means it is based on a human being. And when the human being is there, everybody feels good. And when the human being goes, the whole thing is in chaos. This is not centered on a person. This knowledge is centered on the lineage. This is why it is called Sampradaya. That which is given and received reverentially and passed on also equally reverentially. So therefore, there can be no distortion of this knowledge because it is not person-centric. It is centered because the knowledge, why can't there be distortion? Because the knowledge is always vastu tantram jnanam. The knowledge is as true as the object. Supposing if I say, please look at the juicy mango in my hand. What are you going to say? Nothing is there. Up till now, she was sounding okay, but something happened to her. Maybe the heat stroke got to her. You're going to think like that. So, knowledge is as true as the object. If I show you something and it's not a mango, you're not going to, even though you may have Shraddha towards the knowledge, even towards me, You will not say this is mango when this is not mango clearly. You will not say it is mango. And so that means what? That means that the knowledge is not based on the perceiver. That's why there is no distortion. What is the knowledge based on? Not the perceiver. The knowledge is not based on the giver of the knowledge. The knowledge is not based on the receiver of the knowledge. The knowledge is based on the object. The object of knowledge alone, because this is how knowledge functions. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 was 4,000 years ago. 2 plus 2 is going to be 4,000 years hence. There's no compromise here. Supposing somebody says 2 plus 2 is 7, and they happen to be a brother-in-law. What do? You have to invite them for family events. You have to accommodate the person. And you will tell the children also, quirky uncle is coming to dinner. So you have to accommodate the person. But can you accommodate the belief that 2 plus 2 is 7? No. It is because this knowledge too is like any other knowledge. It is true, not true to the subject, true as the object. And what is the object of this knowledge? The object of this knowledge happens to be you, the subject. And therefore, this sacred place is the best place to learn this Vedanta. Today, in this time that we have been given, we will be having a talk on the Bhagavad Gita, which again is a universal text, timeless and universal. Both we have to see, timeless. It is applicable for all times, all years, any time. You can't say, I belong to Gen Z. I don't even know what that is. What is Gen Z? Whatever it is, some generation. Bhagavad Gita does not apply to me. Why? Because I am Gen Z. I'm sorry to say it does apply. It does apply to you. It applies to you. It applies to your mother and father. It applies to your grandmother and grandfather and great-grandmother and great-grandfather and your children and their children and their children's children also. It is universal and it is timeless because it keys into a universal and timeless human emotion. What is that? Sorrow. This was Arjuna's lot. That's why we love Arjuna so much, because he is not afraid to tell how he is feeling. And the Bhagavad Gita opens the first whole chapter is dedicated to his feelings. And what is his feeling in the first chapter? Not too good. Not too good at all. In the beginning, he has some aplomb. Lord Krishna becomes his charioteer. That's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into it right now. If we have time later, we can look into it. Lord Krishna has become his Sarathi, charioteer, Partha Sarathi. And he forgets that Bhagavan is driving me, Bhagavan is my driver. How can you forget that? But somehow he forgets that. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapaya mechyuta. Hey Achyuta. Hey you. It's like sitting in the chauffeur-driven car and saying, home, James, take me home. This is how he treats Lord Krishna. Home, take me here. Senayoho ubhayoho madhye. In between the two armies. Hey you, ratham sthapaya. Put my Ratha. What is Ratha? BMW. Okay. Put my chariot in between the two armies. Yavadetan nirikshyeham yoddhukaman avasthitan kairmaya sah yoddhavyam asmin ranasamudyame yotsamanan nirikshyeham ye ete atra samagataha. Who are these people gathered here? Let me give them a dirty look, because who are they fighting against? They don't know. Let me give a look and make them run away. Let me give a look and make them remember their mummies, even though they are full grown men. Let me give them a look and scare them. Let me see who dares to fight against one like me. This is a lot of ahankara talk. Ahankara means what? I notion. Me, 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 me. Here's the Lord sitting in front. And what is Arjuna doing? Forgetting all about that and saying, it's all me, it's all me, it's all me. Take me there. Lord Krishna could have objected, how dare you speak to me like that? And that would have been the end. No Bhagavad Gita for us. Shut up, fight. Yeah. Don't forget, I'm doing you a favor here. He doesn't do that quietly. He takes in between the two armies and then says, done. I, sir, finished. I have put, you said between the two armies, I have placed them. But Krishna is not Krishna without a little twist. And what is the twist here? He places between the two armies, all right, but he drags the chariot, inches the chariot towards where all the elders are standing. Bhishma, Drona, Pramukhataha, they are right there. Drona, teacher of Arjuna. Who should be with him? Who should be on the right side of Dharma? But all these fellows, these stalwarts, warriors, are all on the wrong side of Dharma. They are facing against Arjuna. Arjuna can't even look at them. He's so upset and very tortured. How to do this? How can I do this with them? How can I fight these people? Wherever he looked, he saw men in whose lap he had played as a small boy. Arjuna had played as a small boy in Matulaha. Matulaha means uncles, cousins, grandfathers, fathers. All of these people. And here this person was who? Arjuna, ready to fight them. All his fears left him. All his aplomb and his false confidence left him. He was staring at naked fear. And he had the first panic attack recorded in history. I feel feverish. Oh Krishna, oh Lord Krishna, I feel feverish. My hands are sweaty. The Gandiva bow is slipping from my hand. Why? Drishtvevam swajanam Krishna. Sidanti mama gatrani. Sidanti means shithilayate. My gatra is, my body is getting atrophied. My limbs are all atrophied. I'm paralyzed with fear. Mukham cha parishishyati. I forgot my water bottle. I'm dehydrated. Standing here in the battlefield. And I'm trembling like a leaf. Vepatushcha sharire me. And I'm having horripilations. Hairs are standing on end. Roma harshascha jayate. Gandivam samsrate hastat. Tvakcha baridahyate. feeling feverish, feeling sweaty, everything is gone. Lord Krishna could have said, just pop a Xanax. There is that, yeah. Anti-anxiety. Just take that, you will be all right. We have to fight now. We can't have all these, what is that? Panic attacks. Take care of it. Do some deep breathing, and then we'll be off. From here, we cannot afford this. But since there was no Xanax in those times, we have Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is natural, organic Xanax. Yes. And natural, organic Prozac. All right, yeah. Prozac is what? For depression. Xanax is for fear. Okay, so we have both here in the Bhagavad Gita. And the best thing is, you don't need a prescription. Yes, over the counter. Yes, over the counter. Why? Because we have to name the disease that Arjuna was having. It is called Bhava Roga, the disease of becoming. The disease of becoming something or the other, somebody or the other, somewhere or the other, somehow or the other. And in this disease, this is called Bhava Roga, the Roga called Samsara. It's a universal Roga. Everybody has it. Oh, it's like the pandemic. Yes, it's a samsara pandemic. It was the first pandemic that humanity has had to face and which continues. Oh, but we are not practicing any measures. Yes, we are practicing measures. Why? Because you have given up a Sunday to come and listen to this. This is the antidote right here. The Bhagavad Gita is the antidote. This is just like, when, what is that? When there is COVID, you take something, some other, what is that medicine? Yeah, another Lovid. Yeah, so Lovid for COVID and then for Bhavaroga, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita for Bhavaroga. Bhavaroga Bhishak. So the Shastra is the Vaidya, doctor. So Lord Krishna, being the embodiment of the Shastra, is the Bhavaroga Bhishak Vaidya, the doctor of Bhavaroga. And so, first, when a person is just having a mad bout, they are slapping themselves, they are going like this, their eyes are rolling all over, they're having a full-blown, some kind of a madness attack. They say that you just go and slap them lightly to bring them out of this strange place of subjectivity to which they have retreated. So the second chapter starts with this kind of a slap. Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtikaram arjuna klaibyam masmagamah partha nai etattvai upapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva uttishta parantapa. He calls him Parantapa. Param Tapayati. You who drive fear in the hearts of all the people, you yourself are now what? Puk, 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 puk. You are afraid. You are having so much fear yourself. It's a sarcastic. He's trolling him by these names. And then he says, what are you doing? Where did all this rubbish come from? You are not the warrior this is not the warrior I know. This is not the Arjuna that everybody knows. Get up. I don't know what you think you're doing. We are not at a spa. This is the battlefield. Here there is no relaxing. You're not even supposed to be sitting in the chariot. Here you're supposed to be holding the bow and standing in the chariot. But what are you doing? You have slipped down and you're seated in the chariot. And then Arjuna speaks again. Some whining thoughts. Why I have to do this? I have Vairagya, he says. He doesn't say that. He shows that. Vairagya means total dispassion towards this war. Why do you have dispassion towards the war? Because I don't like to fight. Very easy. It's like people who go to Kashi, they go to Varanasi, it's a holy city in the north of India. And when you go to Kashi, you're supposed to give up something that you really love. People go there, give up Karela and come back. Yeah, this is what they do. Karela is bitter gourd, nobody likes it anyway. So here this is convenient. I have Vairagya. Why? I have selective Vairagya towards this war. Why? Because I don't want to kill my people. My people, this is the problem. Right from the beginning, it is mamakara, ahankara, mamakara. Mamakara means myness, I-ness. So he whines because he can't do anything else. Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna. I don't want victory. You're saying to fight. If I fight, what will I get? Victory. Victory, schmictory. I don't want victory. And he has thought it out. Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna. What is the Vijaya for? Vijaya means victory. What is this victory for? Victory is for the kingdom. Narajyam. I don't want kingdom. What is the kingdom for? Kingdom, if I have, so that is the recipe for happiness, because these people have usurped my kingdom, so I will get it back. He knows all this. He says, I don't want kingdom. Na sukhani cha. Kingdom is for happiness. I don't desire kingdom. I don't desire happiness. I don't desire victory. And victory is for the sake of kingdom. Kingdom is sake for the happiness. I don't want any of these things. Why not? Kinno rajyena govinda. Kim bhogaihi. Jivitena va. He says, what is the use? Oh Govinda, what is the use of having the victory, having the kingdom? What is the use of living even? This is, see, suicidal ideation, it's called in medical parlance. What's the point in living? Because if I have to kill my own people, I don't want all this. Why? Why don't you want all this? Why are you getting so depressed? Yesham arthe kankshitam nah rajyam bhoga sukhani cha tairime vasthita upasthita yuddhe pranan tyaktva dhanani cha. For whose sake we would have liked to enjoy this kingdom. See, kingdom and happiness is only when it's shared and enjoyed. You have a 10-course meal, wonderful meal. You look to the left, nobody is there. You look to the right, nobody is there. How long can you sit and eat by yourself? After a while, you say, oh, forget it, this is boring. Even in a restaurant where you don't know people, but at least there are other beings eating. So then you feel kind of, there is a utsaha, there is an enthusiasm to eat because somebody or the other is eating. But here, there's nobody, there's just food there. Arjuna kind of feels like he's in front of a banquet and he wants his own people to enjoy with him. And since they are as good as dead, he says, if you come to this kind of a war, and he knows his own prowess, he's not being proud here, he's being realistic. In this kind of a war, they have pranan tyaktva upasthita sarve. All these people have come here after leaving their prana at home. Meaning, they're as good as dead. When they are, it's like a dead men walking, all these people. People on this side of my side, people on the Duryodhana's side also. And he says, I don't want this kingdom because I want to enjoy it with Duryodhana. What? Are you out of your mind? Don't you know who this Duryodhana is? Don't you know he has tortured you and your brothers? He almost killed you many, many times. Duryodhana fits the role model of terrorist. First terrorist in history, Duryodhana. In fact, we don't use the word terrorist lightly. Atatayin is the Sanskrit word for terrorist. And if you want to be a terrorist, you should fulfill 6 criteria. And then only one can be called a terrorist. Agnidaha. Agnidaha means the one who is, engaged in arson. Check, because he tried to burn the house. He put them in a wax house and tried to burn it. So Agnidaha. Then Garadaha. Garadaha means he tried to poison. Yes, check, right? He tried to poison them. So one who tried to poison, one who tried to set fire, arson, the one who tried to drown somebody, yes, he did that also. And then the one who takes away other people's possessions, yes, he's living on a stolen land and stolen kingdom. The one who takes away by force somebody else's wife, yes, he disrobed Draupadi in public, tried to disrobe her and do all this. All these, there are 6 criteria. I forgot the other 2, but you understand, it's on the same lines. And that is a terrorist. And Duryodhana fit the bill totally. His brother Dushasana was also nothing to write home about. And then what? 100 such brothers. And one scheming uncle. What was his name? Shakuni. Appa Shakuni. Bad luck it should be. Yeah. Shakuni means luck. Yeah. But he had bad luck he was. Bad news for everybody else. One scheming uncle, 100 no good brothers. And yet Arjuna is in a dysfunctional and toxic relationship with them because he cannot give them up. It's one thing to feel sorry for them, but it's another thing to say, if they die, I'll also die. That's a little bit extreme. Extreme feelings call for extreme measures, do they not? Yes. And here he is caught. Arjuna cannot leave the war. Why? Because he is the commander-in-chief. If he leaves, it will be called dereliction of duty and everybody will leave. The war will not even be fought. Duryodhana will be victorious and then will continue that reign of tyranny. Will continue. He can't leave. But he can't stand being there. He is so very, 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 very upset. He cannot stand being there at all. What does he do? He has an idea. Aha. 911 sannyasa. Let me take. I can take sannyasa. This is a loophole in the Hindu tradition. Of course, it's not meant when the going gets tough, the tough get going. That is not what sannyasa is for. That is a false sannyasa. You feel like giving everything up. Why? Because nothing is going my way. This is called the fox's sannyasa. Oh, fox also takes sannyasa? Yes. The grapes are sour, sannyasa. It jumps, the little fox jumps, and the farmer is clever. And the farmer has put the grapevine out of reach, and it sees these luscious dangling grapes. Jumps, gets tired. Legs are paining, repetitive stress injury in the back. And then what does it do? It goes away. Who wants these grapes? They are sour. This is the kind of a temporary vairagya. Temporary vairagya comes for many reasons. Most of all because I don't want to do what I have to do. That's why there is vairagya in Arjuna's heart. And then he thinks of becoming a sannyasi. Goes on Amazon.com, ancientamazon.com, or orders orange dhotis. And he thinks, I'm just going to go from Kurukshetra to Haridwar one day, by walk. Sit under a tree, grow a beard, Why should they grow a beard? Nobody recognizes me. Yeah. He doesn't want somebody to come and say, hey, you, weren't you the one who left the war? Gee, too, how dare you? How could you do this? Idiot. He doesn't want anybody to say that. Beard is a nice disguise. Nobody knows. You become Swami Ji, Baba Ji, some Ji, okay? And you're not Arjuna anymore. He wants the sannyasa to hide his displeasure, his growing displeasure with the war. Mind you, he is not a pacifist. Arjuna is not at all a pacifist, because otherwise he had 12 years before the war broke out, and he not only had 12 years, he had one more year incognito. And 12 years, where were they spent? Not in some, destinations. 12 years were spent where? In the forest. Who else is there in the forest? Sadhus. He could have gone to any sadhu and said, what? Please teach me. I don't want to fight this war. Please make it such that I don't have to fight this war, he could have said. Did he say that? No. That time they were all a bloodthirsty bunch, really, literally. Draupadi took a vow, the wife of Arjuna took a vow, saying, until you get me the blood, get me a hair oil, hair conditioner, conditioned by the blood of Dushasana, that to a specific place, his thigh. Why? Because when that game of dice was on and Draupadi was lost in the game of dice, even though she should not have been pawned in the first place, she is not an object, she is a living being. Dushasana, what did he do? He called her and he touched his lap. Come and sit on my lap, he said. And that action insulted her so much. She said, I will stop combing my hair until I get the hair oil or hair conditioner anointed by Dushasana's blood taken from his thigh. This was their dinner time conversation for 12 years. This is how bloodthirsty they were. They were not a pacifists, but they were warriors. So suddenly he cannot have this transformation. Even before the war, we have a king like that in Indian history, Ashoka. He fought a bloody war full of just blood, gore, and bits, and then he saw but after the war, he toured the battlefield, wept after seeing the destruction, and then became a Buddhist and took the vow of ahimsa. That is transformation. But here the war hasn't even begun. This fellow wants to run away. This is not correct. And he knows this is not correct. But he justifies it because we want to, when we are afraid of our choices, we justify them. And how does he justify it? Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshamapi loke hatvarthakaman cha guru nihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. He says it's better to not eat the food from this bloody war, means the spoils of this war, to enjoy the spoils of this war. It's better to not do that, and instead it is better to what? It's better to live a life of alms. Who can live a life of alms? Only sannyasi or brahmachari, that's all. Arjuna is not a brahmachari. He is already a married man with children. So there's only one other option. Become a sannyasi. It starts to look good. When my life starts to look bad, sannyasa starts to look good. And then as he's talking, he realizes that I am not able to understand this very well. I don't know this properly. I have to see how to be. I have to see what I have to do. And I don't know what to do. So then some kind of a wisdom dawns on him. and he surrenders to Lord Krishna and says, please tell me what is wrong with me. Please tell me what to do. What is wrong with me? What should I do? He says, Nacha etad vidmaha kataranno gariyah. I don't know which is better. Yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuhu. I don't know whether it is better to be conquered by them or whether it is better to kill them and conquer the kingdom. I don't know. Either way is full of bloodshed. And then he says, Shishyasteham. I don't know which is better for me. Yashreyas that which is the most exalted option for me. The most exalted option is what is called Shreyas. This is another word for moksha. Shreyas. Moksha means freedom from some sorrow or the other, called samsara, this life of becoming. This freedom is an internal freedom. It's not an external freedom. Because even if you run away from everything and everybody that annoys you, you are left with a very important source of annoyance, which is what? Yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. So how to get out of that? So this Vedanta is an inside job, really. It's not something external at all. And so here he says, I don't know what is good form. Yashreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me. Please tell me this. Nishchitam. Definitely tell me this. Don't make me have the run around here and there. Shishyahate aham shadhima tvam prapannam. I am your student. Oh, when did you become my student? Just now. Just now I became your student. When you were not looking, I became your student. Shadhima, not shadi.com. Okay, yeah. Shadhi, dha. Okay. Shadhima means teach me. Shas, to teach. Please teach me. Why? Because I have taken ashraya, refuge in you. Tvam prapannam. Please teach me. And then itself the teaching begins. And if this is not day-to-day life, I don't know what else is. No, but I am not fighting the battle of Kurukshetra. Yes, you are. Where? Right here. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Somebody wants me to do this, but I want to do this. This one is a dharmic choice, no doubt, but the adharmic choice is much more preferable and looks juicier and more delicious and more, it is pulling me more. So what if I cut a few corners? Who will look? I have looked to the left, I have looked to the right, I have looked above, below. Of course, I miss the small security camera that is everywhere these days, the ubiquitous eye that is always watching. Forgot that. Who? This criminal, the dumb criminal. Thought he was safe and he did that, did whatever he needed to do. Robbed, pillaged, destroyed somebody's property. And he thought he was adequately disguised. But then Bhagavan sent a gust of wind and then the hoodie fell off. Correct? And under the hoodie was a big baddie. And the baddie was captured on the security camera. This is what happens. So, there are no shortcuts. But yet I want to take shortcuts. There are things I have to do. But I don't feel like doing them. There are things I must never do. But I can't get away from doing them. This is what is Bhagavad Gita in day-to-day life. This is exactly Arjuna's predicament. The inner Kurukshetra, inner Kshetra is the field, the battlefield. The battle is always raging between likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha, preferences and prejudices, between what I want to do, what I have to do, between what is right and what is wrong, between what I want and what I don't want, between my own agenda and other people's agenda for me, between my own expectations of the world and then what I want. All these things are raging in the heart. The Kurukshetra is right here. Who is the Arjuna? You, the undefeated warrior who wants to run away, wants to have an out-of-body experience, because how will you run away from the body? He can, just like he can't run away from the battlefield, you also cannot run away from the body. But run you want. You want to run. This is what happens. So this is all metaphoric. It's a very big allegory about the difficulties in the day-to-day life. When I do as I want to do, there is no growth, really. No growth. Why? Because I am living for myself. And the Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter is going to say, those who live for themselves are called thieves. Stena eva saha. They are called thieves. Why? Because they rob away the resources of the universe without sharing. They're only living for themselves. They have a body, they have hands, they have legs, but they refuse to contribute anything. They refuse to contribute. They run away from every situation. It's just dog eat dog mentality, survival mentality, a leftover vasana, samskara or the other samskara, okay? Yeah, leftover vasana from the previous life as a animal. What does the animal do? Sees a piece of meat in the other animal's mouth, goes and snatches. There is no thinking, there is no judgment, there is just survival. It will give up its own puppies if it is in danger, the dog. That's how it is. And so, apparently, until we cultivate the buddhi, this is the instinct that is predominant in everybody. This is, Adi Shankara called it Prakrita Buddhi. Prakrita Buddhi means bestial buddhi, not best buddhi, bestial buddhi. That which is fraught with all kinds of problems. The buddhi, the intellect that refuses to listen to the higher intelligence, to the Bhagavan within, to the voice of one's own conscience, which is Bhagavan within. This is Prakrita Buddhi. I even deny that I have free will. So from this one has to grow into Samskrita Buddhi. What is a Samskrita Buddhi? A Buddhi that knows Sanskrit. No, a civilized Buddhi. A Buddhi that is civilized. I live for more than myself. This is Bhagavad Gita in day-to-day life. This is an instant recipe for happiness, no matter how depressed one is. This is an instant recipe to connect to that oneness and happiness, because that happiness is contingent upon discovering the oneness. Discovering oneness through Vedanta Shastra, it takes some time. Not that the knowledge takes some time, but because there are so many resistances and fears, that is why it looks like I need repeated Shravanam, repeated listening. In the meantime, I can embrace the oneness around me by living not only for me. This is Bhagavad Gita in day-to-day life. The most powerful iteration of which you will find in the 3rd chapter, verses 10 to 16. Prajapati, the creator, apparently said, Lord Krishna tells, I have made this universe. Along with that, I have created Vedas. What are Vedas? The holy scriptures who tell us how to live. I have given the Vedas. Sahayajna praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi. Anena prasavishyadham. Please grow. May you grow with this book of knowledge, with this book of how to do. The how to do is given in the first portion of the Veda, and the knowledge that you are not the doer at all is given in the second portion of the Veda. The Bhagavad Gita also follows the Veda. This Veda, the Creator said, is your wish fulfilling cow. And then, what is the key here? Do everything with the spirit of yajna. What is yajna? Sacred fire ritual. And what happens at this sacred fire ritual? Everybody has to bring one dravya. Everybody has to come and make sure it takes place. There is a lot of effort, ayasa. You have to prepare for it. You have to, everybody contributes. You have to bring lots of things. You can't suddenly sit there and start the yajna, start saying the mantras and say, oh, I forgot the ghee. You can't do that. You have to bring it right from the beginning. You have to be very well prepared. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of effort. And then when it is well done, one can expect the results of the yajna. What are the results of the yajna? Depends on what we have prayed for and what we have asked for. Somebody will say, I want a happy domestic life. Some other person will say, I need a friend. Some other person will say, I want children. Some other person will say, oh God, take away these children. Please give them to somebody else. So it depends on what people want. Somebody says, give me wealth, give me prosperity, and all these things. So all these things come when I have done the work and what is the work here? Yajna is devotion, devotional worship. Now, Bhagavan says, in dealing with the day-to-day life, make all your actions into yajna, as though yajna. Oh, but I don't do much. All I like to do is eat. Yes, that itself make into a yajna. Why is it eating a yajna? Because there is the fire here, the stomach fire. What is its name? Vaishvanara, stomach fire. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. Again, the stomach fire, Bhagavan says. So that means what? Eat in a timely fashion. Don't eat too much, because what happens when you put too many things in the fire, it will plug up. And the digestive fire likewise will plug up if you put too much in it. And then eat in a timely fashion, just like the yajna is reverentially done. I reverentially put what I can, what this body can digest. I don't do himsa to the body in the feeding. This is an act of worship. Eating becomes yajna. Getting up in the morning becomes yajna. Everything becomes yajna. And therefore, one has duties towards the whole universe. This is called swadharma. What I'm supposed to do. Many people are confused. What am I supposed to do? Well, do you have parents? Yes. Okay. You have some duty towards the parents. Are you married? Yes. You have duty towards the spouse. You can't say, let the spouse fulfill their duty to me first, and then I will see whether I will fulfill the duty or not. No. That is coming from a Western mindset, which is a rights-based society. The Eastern mindset is a duty-based society. I do what I have to do, and my duty becomes your right. Your duty becomes my right. It's a very beautiful concept. Whereas in the West, one is always fighting for my rights, my rights, my rights, my rights. You keep going to the government and crying. You keep going to the state. That's why it's a litigious society. There's so much litigation. All the time you're looking, who shall I sue? Who shall I sue? Very ridiculous. It takes to ridiculous lengths. And so in India, we did not have that in ancient times. Things may be changing now, I don't know. But in ancient times, we never had that. What did we have? Duty-based society. This is what Swadharma is. One component of Swadharma is, what is it that I have to do? What is it I have to do? Unfortunately, is never what I like to do. Is never what I want to do. In this way, we share a lot with Arjuna in common. That is the cause of sorrow. That is the cause of sorrow. And this is what Bhagavan tells, you are grieving over something that should not be grieved over. What is the source of grief? The source of grief can be I. I am sad. The grief is centered on the I, or the grief is centered on objects, not I. Atma, I. Anatma, not I. These are the only two sources of grief. Is the I subject to grief? No. Why? The Shastra says so. That is the proof. Shastra says the I is not subject to grief at all. Is the object subject to grief? Is grief centered on the chocolate cake? No. Ice cream? No. All the things, of course, grief can be centered on ice cream if it is in somebody else's hands. Then I really scream. Okay? Yeah. You can argue like that. But really, the grief is not centered on the object because the object is inert. The grief cannot be centered on the subject because the subject is shown to be free of grief. Totally. Where is this grief then? This grief is an imposter, it's an interloper. You cannot say it is within me. You cannot say it is outside of me. I have caught the grief. I have caught sorrow because everybody around me is sorrowful. People talk like this. I'll have to say, really? Everybody around you is sorrowful? Yeah. And therefore what? I too am mournful because everybody else is sorrowful, full of sorrow. That's why I'm also mourning. I'm also sad. Think of this scenario. Let us say this fellow won a lottery, very big, mega million lottery. Very happy this person is, and they suddenly get ding, one notification. What? Somebody died. They were not that close to them. Somebody in the office passed away, and they have to go to the funeral. Funeral is full of sad people. Does that person become sad? No. They're trying to keep a straight face and not laugh and tell everybody. They want to tell everybody, I won this lottery. But out of decorum for the dear departed, they somehow school their face. When nobody is looking, they steal a smile. Again, they compose their face and try to look serious. So you cannot say, I caught grief just like I caught the flu. No, not possible. Grief cannot be extrinsic. then grief cannot also be what? Intrinsic. If grief is intrinsic, then we should all be happy being sad, because that's all we know. Sadness is my nature, I can't do anything about it. Svabhavasya na nivrittihi. Sadness is my nature, I cannot do anything about it, therefore what? I'll continue to grieve. And each one will congratulate the other. How sad we all have been this whole weekend, very sad, fantastic. Because that's all we know. That's exactly all we know. But we don't do that. Sadness is an impostor, sadness is an aberration, and so therefore, this is a very funny thing. Grief is neither intrinsic nor extrinsic. What is it then? It is an interlope. It is that which is here and that which is to which I have mistakenly claimed, which I have claimed as myself. This is what Arjuna is told. And this grief is because I do not know my own nature. That is the grief. The source of this grief is Atma Ajnana. Atma Ajnanam is relieved by Atma Jnanam. Simple. Self-ignorance is made to go away by self-knowledge. This is not enough for people. This should be enough. But then what should I do in the everyday? That is why the Bhagavad Gita has two topics. One topic is Brahma Vidya, which unfolds the nature of the self as totally free of grief, strife, conflict, anxiety, and of the nature of Ananda. That is the first topic. And the second topic, the related topic, is how to lead a life that is conducive to discovering this fact. How to lead a life of discipline, of moderation, so that my life is in tune with discovering this fact. How to lead a life that is conducive to gaining this vision of no division. I am everything, I am the whole, I am free. And this lifestyle is what we have already touched upon. The first thing is Swadharma. Swadharma is really a very, 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 very important factor. Swadharma. I do what I have to do. But I don't want to do it. Yes, I still do it. Can I do it badly? No. Because if you do it badly, first of all, you are already feeling bad. Then you do something badly. Then are you going to feel better afterwards? No, you're going to feel worse, not better. So Swadharma means doing something very, very well. But I don't want to do it very, very well. Offer it as a prayer to me, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara is the job that is to be done. And offer whatever you have to do. Yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi, dadasi yad. Tat tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you, yad juhoshi, whatever you worship, however you worship, yad ashnasi, whatever you eat, whatever you give, whatever you do, dedicate it to me. So that means what? I have to have the presence of Ishvara up front and center. This is a very important teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan is in the form of the laws of the universe. Bhagavan did not make the laws, not only made the laws, but is in the form of the manifest laws. Wherever there is a law, there is the presence of Ishvara. And a law, two kinds of laws, two laws that where the presence of Ishvara can be missed is the law of dharma. We have already talked a little bit about it. Whenever I violate dharma, there is a feeling of conflict. Why? Because I am in opposition to Bhagavan. I'm not one with Bhagavan. The more I grow into a dharmic person, incapable of violating dharma, then I become close to Bhagavan. I become one with Bhagavan in the day-to-day life. Another order that is very easy to miss is the law of karma. That is where why me comes. Why me? Why it had to happen to me? Why is it my karma? Every 8 billion people in the universe are saying, why me at the same time? What are we going to do here? You know? That means what? It's not you. If 8 billion people are saying, why me at the same time, you cannot personalize this. It is not you. It is a law. Oh, but I don't know what I did to deserve this. Doesn't matter. Don't go back in time. You will not know. Thankfully, there is a curtain between this life and that life. No, but I want to go to psychic and find out. Afterwards, you will feel depressed. First, because you have given money to the psychic. And second, because afterwards, whatever you found out, you didn't like. Then there is, we have our own, whatever, psychic. What is that? Nadi astrology. Yes. In your past life, you disturbed a sadhu. In your past life, you aborted babies. In your past life, you did some terrible things. And then that's why all this is happening. Do you feel better now? Not at all. Yeah, not at all. You don't feel better as a result of all this. So therefore what? Let the past be. Karma means doesn't matter what I did. What is important is I don't repeat the same mistake again. I learn to grow with this. I learned this. There is a karma in front of me. There is a law there. I have my desires. It is in opposition to these desires. I want to do something. I'm not able to do this. And therefore, what do? I just sit and cry, sit and scream. After I've screamed at somebody, I feel better. For how long? 5 minutes. Yes. Then I have to look for somebody else to scream at. This is our lot. This is our lot. And that's a lot, really. How long to go like this? How long to go on like this? Somewhere the break in the impasse must be there. And therefore, the first thing to do, here we are getting into the realm of practical tips. Everybody loves this part. Okay. So, first thing to do is to stop living for one's own self. And sometimes people say, oh, but I've had so much trauma. I was not loved. How can I give love to anybody else? You can. Why? Because I didn't receive any love. That's not an excuse. What does the Shastra say? You are all love. You are the embodiment of love. Love is a dynamic form of Ananda. The dynamic form of Satchidananda is love. That's what you are. And if you are love, then doesn't matter whether you received it or not. That is what one is palpably in touch with. That love is the love for oneness. That love is the love for everything. It encompasses and envelops everything. To discover that love, one must learn to embrace whatever there is, however one can reach out. Through reaching out actions, one becomes less and less solipsistic. Solipsistic means one who is a navel gazer, means only is able to look at their own navel, nothing else. Self-centered. Here, one reaches out. It doesn't always need to involve money. Sometimes all it takes is a smile, a few kind words. It doesn't cost anything to say, how are you? What is going on in your life? I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? That's all it takes. What a difference one can make by small actions mindfully done in the everyday. This is the first thing, is to get out of that I am living for my own thing. And the second thing is to see the presence of Bhagavan in everything. In all my actions, I see the presence of Bhagavan. Even if I don't see the presence of Bhagavan, I invite Bhagavan to be the actor. You can say that. Please help me to do this properly. You do this. I'm just an instrument. Make me your instrument. The Bible also says the same thing. Make me your instrument. Let there be more and more of you and less of me. More Bhagavan, more Bhagavati means less subjectivity, more objectivity, more reason, less anger. Let Bhagavan abide in me, as me. This is what I have to say. This is how I have to live. And then that means what? Everything I do, I dedicate to Bhagavan. Every action is dedicated to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the proxy actor. And then what? The results of action come from where? Bhagavan. If Bhagavan is the actor, then who is the producer of the results of action? Bhagavan. That's why we have the famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita which describes something which is so obvious, but it is obviously missed. Karmani eva adhikarahate ma phalesha kadachana. You have right over action, Arjuna, not over the results. You cannot manufacture the results. Between the action and the results, there is a big law of karma. Many a slip between cup and lip. I did this action, I helped somebody today, and tomorrow somebody should help me. It doesn't work like that. If you expect it like that, it's not going to work at all like that. It is in accordance to Bhagavan's law. When that help will come back to you, then that time it will come. When it is supposed to come, it may even be in the next life, one doesn't know. So the results of action we have to grow to receive them gracefully. Not rave and rant. Why did I get this? Well, you got this because of karma, the law of karma. Oh, but I don't like it. I don't want it. Okay, leave it. Okay, I left it. Oh, thank God. And then what? I got another one. How is that going? Next one is also just like the past one. Yes. People tell me this. My job is oppressive. My boss is oppressive. I am being used, I'm being abused, I'm being exploited. I want to look for something else. Go for it. Job number 2. How is it? This hand gesture. What does it mean? So and so. Not very nice. Why? Same boss, different body. That's all. Old wine in new bottle. That's all it is. Different body, same boss. And then this is exactly how the life is. You can change. But unless you grow, no change is going to happen. You have to grow. And there is a lot of growth. And we see this in the grandmother's life, in the grandfather's life in India. We don't see any grandma telling grandpa, I think we need to spend more time together. And I think we need to work on our relationship. Nowhere you will see. In fact, she does her own thing. He does his own thing. And sometimes at meal times they may meet. Oh, you're still alive. Oh, good. Okay. That's all it is. You haven't yet conquered off. Okay, good. That's all it is. A successful marriage is the one that is outgrown gracefully. That is what is the truth of this. Every relationship. In the beginning, there is need, there is, I have to have this, and then what? You slowly grow out of that. And this is how people coexisted in ancient India. That's how they could live in huge families without, we would say, how did all these 25 people, how did they live in the house without conflict? Because each one learned how to mind their own business. That's how. And when you mind your own business, then what other people are doing, you're not worried about it because you're working on yourself and you are growing. And what is the growth? The growth is from being a person who does as one likes to a person who likes whatever one has to do. This is what is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means growing into a person who likes everything that is there to be done. Whatever is to be done, I like to do. Why? Because it is not in my hands to do as I like. So I have to convert every action into prayer, and I have to receive the result of action as Bhagavad Prasada. When you come to the temple, Mother Sharada gives one day laddu. Ah, fantastic. Laddu. Laddu means ball of calories. And then next week you come because you got laddu last time. This time what? 1 teaspoon of water. Do you fight with the priest? Hey, what happened to my laddu? Who did you give it to? No laddu? Okay. Yes, laddu? Also okay. This is the demeanor. This is the demeanor. Samatvam yoga uchyate. First definition of Karma Yoga is equanimity in receiving the results of action, in managing my successes and managing what I think are my failures, allowing them to be. And then what? Then there is another component of Karma Yoga, very, very important. The second component is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Usually they describe a skill in action is yoga. Not a very good translation. Skill in action means what? Every pickpocket is very skilled in action. Supposing there is a pickpocket who says, okay, I'm about to pick your pocket. If it is all empty, I'll be okay. I'll say, okay, Bhagavan did not want me to have. And if it is full of greenery, it's all mine, no longer yours. If I am able to, if I have a bad day and I am apprehended, if I put my hand in your pocket and you catch hold of my hand and turn me to the authorities, I'll say, okay, Bhagavat, I'll take it as prasada. Am I a karma yogi? Yes? No. Why? I have dedicated all the actions. I left it to God. Let there be $20 bill, no problem. Let there be 20 $20 bills, no problem. Let there be 20 $100 bills, no problem. Or let there be just $1 bill, no problem. Why am I not a karma yogi? Right? Adharma, there is no dharma here. That is why I am not a karma yogi. Dharma has to be there. So skill in action is not skill in action. It's the skill in interpreting dharma in the vishesha, in the situations. The skill in interpreting samanya dharma, the dharma that is universal and unchanging to specific situations, that is skill in action. That's what makes one a karma yogi. That is the second thing. There's one more way in which to keep sorrow at bay. And that definition of Karma Yoga comes in the 6th chapter. And what is that? Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyoga yoga samgitam. Know that to be yoga, which is dissociation from association with sorrow. Well, what is this dissociation from association with sorrow? Exactly like that. Sorrow hangs on like a fog, never really goes. And since the mind has the tendency to linger on sad things all the time, since the mind has the tendency, therefore there is this teaching that don't let go, don't be around thoughts that are sorrowful. Dukkha samyoga viyoga, association with, you dissociate from association with sorrow. How do I associate with sorrow? Anything. The mind just has this downward effect, downward spiral. My teacher, Pujya Swamiji Dayananda, would always say, give me any word and I'll make you unhappy in 2 minutes. You can try that now. Give me any word. Power? Flower. Oh, you know what's happening in Colombia in the flower industry. Everybody is just, their hands are all full of chemicals. It is true, actually. There is a movie that was made about it. Your rose is my death. That is the title of the movie, something like that. Talks about silicosis in the lungs, the pesticides entering the lungs, just so that we can have beautiful flowers. Is everybody sad enough? This is what is the natural, it's not natural, it is some kind of an association with sorrow. And now she doesn't even want to keep holding that, so wants to put it away. So, this is the association with sorrow. And you keep that away. Bring the mind back to the present. The present is free of sorrow. The present is free of strife. The present is free of conflict. How can you say? Are you sad now? Yes? No. What about now? 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 Now are you sad? Now? Now? Yes. Somebody said yes. That was then. This is now. When you said yes, that moment is gone. This is now. Now is timeless. Now is you. Dukkha samyoga viyoga. Dissociation from the constant, habitual, I might add, orientation towards sorrow. Where people, instead of reversing the distress, keep rehearsing the distress. Rehearsing the distress, it's not going to change. It's not going to change at all. Rehearsal is not reversal. And so therefore, I have to protect the self by letting go of these sad stories that I tell myself, about Jagat, about even Bhagavan. This is a very important tip. This is the final but very important tip. So just to summarize, what are the tips? To see everything as Bhagavan, to reach out, to make sure I'm doing my duty, to grow into a person that likes to do whatever that needs to be done, to make sure that I manage my raga and dvesha in the face of what I consider success and failure, and to make sure that I learn to deal with everything with equanimity. I learn, in other words, what they are calling right now in trendy parlance, radical acceptance. I don't know what is radical about it. It's very ancient. And it's a slow process because in the beginning, I cannot accept. So first, I have to learn to accept my non-acceptance repeatedly. And then I come to a place of acceptance. Acceptance of what is, because our definition of Bhagavan is not a guy in the sky. Our definition of Bhagavan is what is. What is Bhagavan. And that what is, I just surrender to what is. When I see Bhagavan in the form of what is, then my appreciation for the laws grow. I become a calm, mature, and a very compassionate person. That is the growth that has to be initiated. The other kind of growth happens automatically. One grows, one eats, one drinks, one has a job, one grows old, one dies. There's nothing to write about this. That is not remarkable at all. What is remarkable is the human ability to initiate the second form of growth. And what is that? To be a human being that is more accommodative, more compassionate, more patient, more loving. I have to discover that in myself because that is possible. That is the key to happiness. That is the key to Vedanta sticking in the heart. Otherwise, Vedanta just won't even stay for a cup of tea. It will say, got to go. In some other antakarana that is better prepared, I have to go. I can't sit in your heart. Why? Because it is full of clutter. You haven't made room for me. There's too much of you. Where there is room for me, I will go. There is no room for me. To allow this knowledge to come and sit, a little housekeeping, cobweb cleaning in the form of raga, dvesha, anger, kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsarya, jealousy, anger, fear, all this has to be taken care. That's the dusting, housekeeping, cleaning. And then when you make room, the knowledge of the self shines. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions? Okay, very, very nice to meet all of you. Thank you for coming.